Okay, it's good that you're still there. I'm still here, I'm still with you. Yes, the position of women and how important their chastity was to them. But how important was it the child should resemble the king? The whole thing is it seems so unusual to be in that kind of situation. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Maharaj, you were clearly audible.
Okay, good.
So Maharaj, in all circumstances, son may not resemble his father, because how did they speculate and contemplate that that is the situation for which they would be blameworthy? Their chastity was in question, and the king may not believe them or accept them. That's why they killed the innocent children. So it is quite peculiar situation for misunderstanding of the wives. Yes.
Yeah, it's a misunderstanding of the wives, isn't it? I think so. But it means the wives themselves were somewhat threatened, that some fear was there.
Also, they may not be fully aware of dharma as well, the importance that they have a duty to protect these children. So, the fear of society got to them more than understanding the duty towards raising the children.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. They're not so familiar with their duty to their children. Okay. Then the next verse.
Whereas due to envy, such a situation may arise that had happened in case of Chitra. Ketu Maharaj, he had 1 crore wives, but when one begot a child, other became envious and killed the son.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different intrigues going on in the palace with the kings. Even we saw recently, it wasn't that long ago, up in Nepal, the kings, there was a big murder up there in the palace there in Nepal, and they shot each other, or one of them shot everyone else. So royal families, they have their own problems. Okay, we'll go ahead, text 35. The king, his attempt for progeny frustrated in this way, performed a sacrifice named Marutstoma to get a son. Here we just heard there were 3 wives and they killed their sons because they thought the child doesn't resemble the father. So now the king is desperate to get a child, to get a son, to get someone. So the demigods named as the Maruts, being fully satisfied with him, then presented him with a son named Bharadwaja. So he could satisfy the demigods, and in this way he got a son. When the demigod named Brihaspati was attracted by his brother's wife, Mamata, who at that time was pregnant, he desired to have sexual relations with her. The son within her womb forbade this, but Brihaspati cursed him and forcibly discharged semen into the womb of Mamata. Oh, the terrible things which go on in the heavenly planets. You see, even great souls like Brihaspati could do this kind of thing. It's so shocking to hear. Prabhupada agrees. He said, the sex impulse is so strong in this material world that even Brihaspati, who is supposed to be the priest of the demigods and a very learned scholar, wanted to have a sexual relationship with his brother's pregnant wife. This can happen even in the society of the higher demigods. What to speak of human society? The sex impulse is so strong, it can agitate even a learned personality like Brihaspati. Very sad, very unfortunate. People are in this fallen condition. And so hearing...
I was thinking that in the heavenly planets, they have so many women that are available to these sages and people that are society girls. Why be forceful with, your sister-in-law? If you have an urge, there are other girls that can facilitate that very happily. Why go for a chaste woman? That's, that was my confusion on this.
Yeah, especially a woman who's already pregnant. My goodness, it's so shocking. But this is to highlight just how the sex impulse can agitate people. And we're hearing this again and again in these chapters, in this last portion of the 9th canto, of the lust, the danger of lust, and how even there among great personalities, and how they can perform these shameful activities. Anyway, it continues, Mamata very much feared being forsaken by her husband for giving birth to an illegitimate son, and therefore she considered giving up the child. But then the demigods solved the problem by enunciating a name for the child. I get a bit confused here because we heard that Mamata was already pregnant. So how was it giving birth to an illegitimate son? She was already pregnant by her husband.
Maharaj, I was going to ask you a similar question, but in Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's Subodhini, he's written something in there, so I don't know if it's from a previous Acharya. It says that due to the curse of Brihaspati, the child, Dirg Atma, in Mamta's womb was born blind. So the one that she was already pregnant with was cursed to be blind. And then he actually kicked Brihaspati's semen out of her womb, and it fell to the ground. And that child that fell to the ground is the one who's Bhardwaj.
Really?
That's what it states here.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you for that, Mataji. All right, so purport by Srila Prabhupada, according to Vedic scripture, whenever a child is born, there are some ceremonies known as Jata Karma and Namkarana, in which learned Brahmins immediately after the birth of the child make a horoscope according to astrological calculation. But the child to which Mamata gave birth was begotten by Brihaspati irreligiously. For although Mamata was the wife of Uttatya, or Brihaspati made her pregnant by force. Therefore, Brihaspati became Bharta. According to Vedic culture, a wife is considered the property of her husband, and a son born by illicit sex is called Dwaja. The common word still current in Hindu society for such a son is Dogla, which refers to a son not begotten by the husband of his mother. In such a situation, it is difficult to give the child a name according to proper regulated principles. Mamata, therefore, was perplexed, but the demigods gave the child the appropriate name Bharadwaja, which indicated that the child born illegitimately should be maintained by both Mamata and Brihaspati. Mamata and Brihaspati. Yes, well, here we see at least they're maintaining the child, they're not killing the child, they're protecting the child, and they've given the child a suitable name. So, Brihaspati and Mamata, they're both responsible. And then text 38, Brihaspati says to Mamata, "You foolish woman, although this child was born from the wife of one man through the semen discharged by another, you should maintain him." Upon hearing this, Mamata replied, "O Brihaspati, you maintain him." After speaking in this way, Brihaspati and Mamata both left. Thus the child was known as Bharadwaja. They both gave up on the child. Neither of them wanted to take the responsibility. Neither Brihaspati nor Mamata. Text 39, although encouraged by the demigods to maintain the child, Mamata considered him useless because of his illicit birth, and therefore she left him. Consequently, the demigods known as the Maruts maintained the child, and when Maharaj Bharat was disappointed for want of a child, this child was given to him as his son. Okay, so he got a child. That's a problem. They needed a child. He wanted to get a child. He got one. From this verse, it is understood that those who are rejected from the higher planetary system are given a chance to take birth in the most exalted families on this planet Earth. So, the child was actually born in an exalted family in the heavenly planets. Brihaspati and Mamata, great souls, but they didn't want this child, so the child came down to earth, it was brought to earth. The Maruts maintained the child, and then they gave the child to Bharat Maharaj. It was given to him to be his son. So, very important for a king to have a son. If the king has no son, then it's very inauspicious. It's very, very important. King has to have a son who can take over, who can be the next king, and who can rule in the absence of the father. The king has to have a son who can deliver him from hell. All right, so quite a chapter, a lot of action going on in this chapter. What did we hear? We heard in the beginning, first of all, we heard about Maharaj Dushmanta and Shakuntala, right? And from their relationship, we got the son who was Bharat. And so Bharat became the king of, not just of a kingdom, but the king of the whole world. And we heard about Maharaj Bharat's ruling, that he performed thousands of horse sacrifices. He was very charitable, He gave a lot of charity. He gave so many, 14 lakh elephants. He gave 14 lakh elephants in charity. Elephants who were all covered in gold. What else did Bharat Maharaj do? What were some of the things he did? Anything else you remember?
Lots of sacrifices.
Yeah, he did horse sacrifices. He said that. And he gave a lot of charity. And the elephants covered in gold. Oh, he rescued the wives of the demigods. Remember what had happened to them? Where were they?
In Rasatal, Maharaj.
Huh?
Rasatal.
Yes, and Rasatala. Yes, Rasatala Loka. And Bharat Maharaj rescued them, brought them back. Okay, and then we heard finally how he got a son. He got the son Bharadraja. And that son was a special son. He came from the higher planets. The Maruts brought him and gave him to Bharat Maharaj, who wanted a child.
But Maharaj, here is one question. He has done so many activities. But as a result, he performed this Marutstoma Jagna. By performing this Marutstoma Jagna, he got an unwanted child as a gift.
Yes.
Produced by Brihaspati and Mamata. Why it happened, Maharaj?
Why
This is wrong.
Huh?
This is not right.
I'm sorry, it's not right?
No, they can give good progeny, but they have given the unwanted child.
But it's
This
from
was
the
not
higher
in the proper
planets.
way.
It's from the higher planets.
Okay, he came from Sargaloka Maharaj, but that is not in proper way. They did not get the son in proper way.
It's from higher planets. It's special. That's why it's put.
There was no proper Garbhodam Samskar. Just he wanted to associate with his brother's wife, and just possibly he associated. And this is semen.
But it's from the semen. Brihaspati. Brihaspati is a great soul, very learned soul. So even though it was not proper, but still a special child.
This is
Maharaj,
Mission Maharaj.
is this the same Bhardwaj that is a family Gotra who's one of the rishis? Because he's my maternal Gotra is Bhardwaj. And when I read this yesterday, I was like, oh, this is how the head of our lineage started, from Bhardwaj. So I was just wondering if it was the same rishi.
I only know one. I don't know of any others. Maybe.
I guess from the name of the meaning of his name is given, like the word, how they explain the Sanskrit of his name is illicit born. So I'm assuming that it's the same personality.
How do we understand the meaning of his name? Bharadraja. What Bharata meaning? What? What's the meaning of Bharat?
That he was born from
Maharaj
Brihaspati.
Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in his purport, a son born by
Brihaspati made her pregnant by force. Therefore, Brihaspati became Bharata.
No, Brihaspati did not become Bharat, because Bharat Maharaj received this son. That's why his name became a Bharat, means Bharat Maharaj's name, and Dhaja means this unwanted child.
Yeah, Dwaja. means born by illicit sex. A son born by illicit sex is called Dwaja. So, Bharadwaja. Bharad means that by force.
Bharat means the king. Bharat Maharaj.
No, Bharta. The word is Bharta. Not, this is...
Yes, Maharaj, in sloka number 37 it is written, therefore Brihaspati became Bharata.
Yes.
Bharata means the Palak.
Okay.
Bharta, what is the meaning, Bharta?
What is the maintainer of the child.
Okay, maintainer of the child.
Yes.
Bharata.
Bharta means like the father. And Dwaja means the son, born by illicit sex. So, Bharadwaja.
Maharaj,
Yes?
if it's okay to ask a couple of questions on this last section here.
Okay.
So, of course, the words are not used here. The word is not used, but it seems like Brihaspati raped Mamta. That's what it seems like. Forcefully engaged in affairs with her. The word force is used.
Okay.
So, what is the consequences for Brihaspati? We don't hear of any punishment, any reaction. Him getting told off by anyone, even Lord Brahma.
Well, because he's a great soul, because he has some position there, he can get away with it.
We can understand that someone gets away with it in our realm. But we say that the demigods are like the perfect servants of the Lord, and everything goes on under the direction of the Lord, and everything is proper, trim and proper. So Brihaspati should get some reaction, shouldn't he? There's no mention of anything about him feeling bad, or nothing is there.
Yes, nothing is there. I agree. So, we have to understand. The karma will be there. You get some difficulties. You'll be the lust. The lust is not going to be satisfied. That lust is there, and you do something like that one time, you may want to try to do it again.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
Maharaj, he was a rishi, na? His 7 rishis, one of the rishis. Maharaj.
Sorry, what?
Maharaj was rishi,
Yeah.
one of the rishi.
Yes.
7 rishis. Maharaj, you know.
So that was the result, right? That was the result of Brihaspati's sinful activity. We got Bharadraj.
So different about that. He was not rishi.
Yeah, Upananda Keshava Prabhu was just saying that this is a different Bharadraj compared to the great Rishi.
Oh, really?
He's just pointing that out.
Oh, okay.
How do we know that though? How do we know that? Because the name itself indicates illicit born. So if there was another same, with the same name, the meaning of the Sanskrit would maybe still be the same.
Okay.
So that was my question originally as well, is this the same one who was a great rishi? But I guess he's born from Brihaspati, who's also supposed to be, a priest. So, yeah, it's something we can look into, I guess.
Yeah. It's a little complicated. It doesn't say anything in your book about it, huh?
No, nothing is mentioned. But I was thinking maybe it might be there in a different Purana. Because generally if there's like anything that doesn't get completed here, there is like more detail is mentioned in a different Purana. But for the same, like when Sita was, made to go through the fire, it's only in Kurma Purana it explains why she went through the fire. So it seems like there is more information in other Puranas focusing on other bits that is not focused on in the Bhagavatam. Even the reaction, maybe he may have got a reaction for what he did as well, or a punishment for it, but it might be written about in a different Puran.
Yes. Yeah, definitely we can understand it. Be more disturbed. You do something like that. Then at the same time he's talking to the woman. You foolish woman. He himself is the fool, the bad person, right? But he's telling Mamata, you foolish woman.
Maharaj, also, I don't know if this event happened afterwards or before this Brihaspati, because we know that Tara was forcefully taken by Soma. Tara is Brihaspati's wife.
Yes.
So is that the reaction? I don't know. I'm just kind of putting it out there.
Is it a reaction? Well, that's speculation, right? We don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, we don't know. I'm just kind of putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Marge, another question, Marge, is we have this other son within the womb of Mamata. Right. Now while he's in the womb, he's saying he's having a go at Brihaspati, and then he kicks out the semen of Brihaspati. How to understand this? How to understand this? Because the womb is completely kind of separate or at a distance, from the genitals and so on and so forth. And do children are babies mature at that time? How conscious are they? All these things are there. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that, Marge.
Difficult to know. Baby kicks out the semen. Baby's undeveloped anyway, but still somehow. Well, again, with higher planets, right? It's heavenly planets. These things are happening. Is it earthly? On the earthly planet it happened?
I mean, because we're talking about Brihaspati, who is like the priest of the heavens.
Yeah.
So it must be, beyond.
Yeah, he could just, because he's senior most. But of course we know that Brahma, when he did something, even although he didn't do it, but he just made the offense subtly, he gave up his body to atone for it. So Brihaspati, if he's done something, yeah, he's going to have to atone for it. Going to have to do something. If you can't do these things and just forget about it. Anyway.
I didn't catch the name. You said someone had to give up their body. Who was that? Sorry, I didn't catch that name. For the atonement.
When was this?
Brahma. He said Brahma.
Oh, Brahma. Yes. Yeah, Brahma gave up his body because of daughter, right? Lusting after the daughter. So then, give up his body. But that's a subtle body, not a gross body. Okay, any other questions here?
Yes, I have two questions. It could be from previously.
Yeah?
Regarding omens, that we see that, for example, Rukmini had this omen that trembled one part of her body, so Krishna appeared. Also, we had seen that, for example, Kamsa had these omens about he was going to be killed by Krishna. So, this omen, how does it work? For example, it could be that someone, for example, a devotee, could have a lot of fortune in the future, a lot of opportunities, but this fortune and these opportunities are, for example, in contrast with spiritual life. So in the future he will fall, for example. In a spiritual speaking, it's a bad thing, not a good thing, but material speaking is a good thing. So how this omen works, for example, it works on a material level, on a spiritual level, or how this omen works?
Well, there's different, it appears there are different kinds of omens according to different situations. I told you about the omens which were there before the Pandava dynasty was all annihilated, before the Yadu dynasty was annihilated. When they were all in Dwarka, they saw many bad omens, many inauspicious omens. And so Lord Krishna sent everyone to the mainland. And they went there to do rituals, and what happened? They all got drunk and then they killed each other. So it was prophesied, there were omens predicting that there's some very inauspicious events going to take place. So, Lord Krishna, he came to Kurukshetra when there was an eclipse. An eclipse is another kind of omen. It was an inauspicious omen. But Lord Krishna came to Kurukshetra with everyone, and they did charity. They did a lot of charity. His whole family came. Whole family. So, there are different kinds of omens, like Kamsa got the omen that he was going to be killed by the 8th child of Devaki. What can we say? It's all controlled by the material nature. It's all going under the direction of Lord Krishna. Sometimes it will be the divine potency, and sometimes it will be the material potency. The divine potency will be for to bring us closer to Krishna, to surrender to Krishna. And the material potency will be events in the material world, on the bodily platform.
And how can we differentiate them?
How can we differentiate? Well, when you see what happens, then you can differentiate. You have to see what effect, what's going to take place. Is it going to be for your spiritual advancement or what? Sometimes we could say, well, it's just everything is happening just due to the influence of time. It's just all under the control of time. People dying, people leaving the body, the yadus annihilating each other, they all have to go back to their abode, heavenly abode, so they annihilated each other. It appeared, very tragic. It's the influence of time. Okay.
Also, I have another question. Could be?
Okay.
As was saying that a seminal child, in the future, if he becomes a devotee, are going to liberate their father, right? But what about, for example, in this regard, I could remember like Nanda Maharaj, the Krishna. What about if a son has not a seminal father, but a father who grew up with him, like a nurse, for example? What about this father or mother? They will be liberated also?
Yeah. Yes, if they're bringing up a child who's a devotee, they're bringing up a great soul, they will also be liberated. They're also great souls for bringing up a great soul. Yeah, they get a lot of benefit. You bring up a great soul, a child who's a great soul, definitely it's very beneficial, right? Right? Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee. Because he was a devotee, even his father was a demon, they were all liberated. For 27 generations, everyone got liberated. Yeah?
So it doesn't matter if the father is a seminal father, like real father, like you said, or the father who grew up with the children, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You bring up the children. Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, they brought up Krishna. Yeah, they're so fortunate. They're very special souls.
And the last one is just a confirmation. So Dhruva Maharaj's mother got liberated not because she was Dhruva Maharaj's mother, else because she was the Parma Pradarshaka Guru. So this story is different. It's not like she had been liberated because she was his mother, else because he was kind of good.
Yeah. Well, it could be, it's up to the Lord, really. What does the Lord want? If he wants to liberate them, just like he wanted Putana, he saw Putana had a service attitude, although she wants to kill Krishna, but he liberated her, took her back to Godhead. So if he sees the mood there, the mood of devotion that they want to do service, then they can be liberated. It depends on their attitude, the mood which they have in performing the service. If they do it with loving devotion, then they'll be liberated. They'll go back to Godhead to serve Krishna there. Very fortunate. Okay, we have to stop here then. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go back to Vrinda ki jai.